commentary here. I was hoping to get squiggly lines into the title, but it was vetoed. Yeah. So this is Jeff.
Yeah. And this is Chad. And this is Catholic Dad's podcast. And so tonight what we're going to talk about is maybe a good topic for discussion, a good debate.
Perfect.
So
it may not be a good debate between both of us because I think we're on.
Yeah, I think we agree with each other.
Pretty close to the same page.
But
right?
all of our listeners might disagree.
That's right.
Or some of them.
And so, of course, we're not talking for the magisterium. This is just Jeff and Chad talking.
That's right. That's right. But this is my feeling. So Jeff, are you impressed with my library?
So looking at Chad's library, expansive, the 3-story tall. With those, I'm sure they have names, ladders with wheels. There's got to have some sort of special name. It's probably French.
Yeah.
But looking at the dozen of those he has to reach the top.
No, let's not make you have to go to confession after this podcast.
So I noticed, Chad, on your bookshelf, among classics and encyclopedias, you also have a set of Harry Potter books.
Harry Potter.
How could this be?
Yeah.
You're a Catholic family.
I am a Catholic dad.
And you don't also celebrate Halloween, do you?
I love Halloween.
And let your kids play Halo and those other kind of video games?
Yes, I do, Jeff.
Should that be scrubbed? So, a bit of confession. No. All of our kids play those same games. It's not just Chad's family.
Yes.
In fact, our boys are very much into the Call of Duty thing.
Yes. Yeah, you said duty.
Yeah. Duty.
Yeah.
So, really the topic tonight is kind of living that Catholic life and doing the best we can, but drawing lines in the sand on the culture and where do you put those lines, right? As a family.
That's right.
And ultimately, what's the basis of your decision, right?
And I think, like, for me, it goes all the way back to really, you want to like point to something. Mm-hmm. It's got to be Halloween. Seriously, it's
sure.
Halloween.
Yep.
Because in my own faith journey,
mm-hmm.
right, cradle Catholic growing up, really, went to mass, did CCD, and just like everything, right? But it was kind of like going through the motions. Didn't really click with me until I had children,
mm-hmm.
And then once I had children, once I became a dad, I knew I've got to do something. I'm bringing a life into this world, and what is it all about? And
mm-hmm.
And that might be a story for another podcast, because I was able to go, because of work, to Rome. It was the Jubilee year, and I had this incredible experience in St. Peter's Basilica, just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, growing up, I look back at my childhood, had a fantastic childhood. So shout out to my mom and dad. Seriously, wonderful childhood. And we love to celebrate, just like all the holidays of the year. You
mm-hmm.
decorate your house. Jeff, do you have decorations up in your house now?
So we do, and actually this line's really, really good. So, in fact, it's September the 18th, although when this podcast is actually published, it could be in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Through the miracles of modern technology, we do time travel a bit. So, September 18th, and our Halloween decorations are up in the Dodge household. And, funny story, one of the kids had their birthday this weekend, and Father Tran, who's a wonderful priest here in Kingwood, came over. Kind of after the party was starting to settle down, most of the kids had left, and he came over after Mass and had a nice dinner together. And our house is decorated to the nines with bats and goblins and ghosts and spider webs in the corners and the whole deal. And I didn't get a chance to ask him what he thought about it. But the point is, we did it, right?
So, that's a good point. And not to interrupt you, but the type of, so you just described like bats and goblins and ghosts and whatnot. So that's the kind of Halloween decorations you have. So you don't have like harvest and...
No. This is, you don't have to wonder whether this is a harvest festival or Halloween when you walk in the Dodge household. We have a picture, which, okay, to be honest with you, part of the squiggly line concept of the podcast, it may just be on part of that squiggly line. It's a three-dimensional picture deal, and it's a ghoul, and you look at it one way, it's an old man, and then you walk by and his face changes. It's pretty scary. But the whole idea is definitely Halloween, right? Yeah. We celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Halloween, and Father Tran, I don't know if it was partly because of the decorations or whatever, one of the things we talked about was the Mass, right? And how the Mass is traditional. And it goes back, really, from what I know, and we're amateur theologians to be sure, but from what I understand, the Mass, truly in the form that it is right now, they have records dating back to the early 300s on actual parchment of the liturgy written out. So they know that it was earlier than that because they didn't have to write it down. Somebody wrote it down because they had to preserve it. So it goes back to the 300s, guys. So tradition and all that tradition and decorating your house, the kids loved it, right? They asked to decorate, right? You can't get them to clean the floors, but you can certainly get them to put decorations up all over the house. And if you do it the same year every year, and it's the same decorations every year, and you pull it out and, one of the kiddos goes crazy over the pumpkin that they had forgotten all about, but then we bring it out every year and it's got a cool witch hat on and lights up and it's great, right? And it's that family tradition stuff that just keeps you going year after year after year, and it's the stuff that, when they come back, they'll remember, right? And so I guess talking about Halloween, one of the things is, and I guess maybe the way that I look at it and when it gets to Harry Potter and it gets to video games and everything else, is you have to look at it from what's the danger here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And that's what I was kind of coming from is, as a kid, I loved Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think if you took a poll in the general United States populace,
yep, everybody
would say that their favorite holiday is Christmas. Their second favorite holiday is Halloween.
Valentine's. Oh.
No, Halloween. I would say that most people would answer not Valentine's Day, but rather Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, a ton of my friends are in that same camp. I'm in that camp, firmly in that camp. I love Halloween.
Yep.
So what happened was, you grow up, my mom would always decorate for Halloween. We would have this great family event called Pumpkin Fest where everybody gets together and carves pumpkins.
Perfect.
It's just an awesome time.
Yep.
And the weather is awesome. To me, fall is the most glorious time of year, right? The weather breaks.
I agree.
The summer is gone. The oppressive heat of Southwest Louisiana or Southeast Houston or Southeast Texas in the Houston area is gone, and now this beautiful weather is now here, and you can go outside and enjoy it with your family. Just all these things, right? Campouts with the Cub Scouts.
Yep.
It's just so wonderful, right?
In the neighborhoods, right?
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that I love is just going through the neighborhood full of kids, right? And neighbors that you really haven't ever seen, but are friendly and are great. And, okay, so you can put a line in the sand. You can say, well, that's, we had some friends that they would only dress up their kids as saints, right?
Yes.
Which you could be very creative about that. One of the articles I read, Catholic Answers, shout out to them, right? They did a whole article last year on Halloween and why it's cool for Catholics to celebrate. They said, if you want to be a scary saint, well, you can start with John the Baptist, right? And make a costume with a head on a platter that your kid's carrying around, right? You can go, as fun as this is, and one of the things that, and I guess we don't really need to make historical or theological arguments because we're trying to keep it Catholic, but one of the things about it, that I really liked about the argument, just to keep it simple, is that through Halloween, through this festival of the scary stuff and the bats and the cobwebs, and you're kind of making it silly, right? And what you're making silly, you're showing doesn't have any power over you, right? And so if you can make this stuff silly, and granted we don't want to make evil silly in the sense that we'll take that too far, so don't stretch the things that we say, but in a real term, you can make it kind of silly, right? You're mocking it. You're saying Christ won over the top of this, and that makes it okay, right?
I agree, but I even look at it more simplistic than that, Jeff. Seriously, it's just like, you know what, guys, it's just a day that you're going to go out and knock on doors and get candy. I don't understand what the big deal is. I really don't. And we have a wonderful Christian radio station here that refuses to even call it by the name Halloween.
Yep.
That really just, I can't fathom that. It's like, you're not even going to say the word Halloween on your broadcast. No, they're going to say October 31st is coming, and I love those guys, and I love the music that they play, and obviously they're bringing Christ into millions of homes, and that's fantastic, but I just don't really see the big deal. What is the harm of enjoying Halloween? And I really struggled with that once I came back to the church, once I found my faith again, right? And I'm like you, we started, just like maybe doing some research, or you hear people talking, and it's like, well, I didn't really realize it was that big of a deal, really. You don't do Halloween, and oh no, you don't do Halloween,
So that, just to position that with a winter holiday, right? And how bent out of shape people get about that. And then the other thing that, more and more often, I think it's interesting just talking to folks around Houston and people with different traditions, when you start, like, Halloween is traditional. It goes way back, right? Sort of a pagan holiday, but sorry, guys, all of our holidays are pagan holidays, right? The church, just in her wisdom, took it and turned it around and made it into Christ and made it something that people could enjoy and made it positive and, turned it around, right? Easter, Christmas, they all have pagan roots. So Halloween being the same way. And pagan not necessarily being anything related to anything dark or, evil, right? But this idea of, well, maybe we shouldn't be doing Halloween is percolating into all the other holidays too. So I've had conversations with folks that say things like, I know we need to celebrate Christ's birthday on Christmas, but since it really wasn't December 25th, maybe it's not that big a deal to celebrate, right? Or I struggle with it because December 25th isn't in the scriptures. And so I'm not sure if our family needs to make a really big deal out of it. It's become so commercial anyway, which I can't argue against that, right? But once you start stripping away those traditions and those holidays, they have meaning, which is good. And you look for the good, right? And you try to do as much as you can to get rid of the bad.
We got to back up. Because I'm going to disagree with you here.
There you go. Finally, we have a debate on the podcast.
I think that it's been debunked that Christmas was a pagan holiday first.
So there is a debate about this.
There is. So Christmas, and I think the one is like Saturnalia or some kind of crazy
Sol
name
Invictus
like that.
Day. Yeah.
That's from my understanding of it. It is. We feel as Christians, as Catholics, that it was December 25th, and the beautiful thing that I heard about it, or the explanation of it, is, it was the author of the universe, right? If he so wants to bring the light back into the world, what better night to do it than on the darkest night of the year? Whereas we got to get out of that mentality of, oh, it's just okay, look, it's the darkest night of the year, so of course they're going to put Christmas on. Right, on December 24th, okay, it's the winter equinox or whatever the heck it is.
So that's a great point.
So it's not that because we wanted to make it fit,
right,
we put this holiday here. It's, because that's what God wanted to do, and He did it on this day because of that.
Sure.
So you see this, like, it's...
So there was a really good, on EWTN, there was almost a 30-minute lecture on why Christmas is the actual day that it is, right? And so that's all good, and I'm good with that, and I don't know the difference, right? There was another article I read that was also written by a Catholic source, and I don't remember if it was Catholic Answers or one of the other ones, so I don't want to say, because I'm not really sure who it was, but they made the point that it was Sol Invictus, right? And in the 300s, what happened with Sol Invictus Day was that, the Romans were trying to get a hold of this thing, and I forget what the emperor was, but he wanted a blast-out holiday that would be great for everybody, to bring everybody away from this crazy Christian thing, and they were going to make it a great big day. So it was going to be Sol Invictus Day, darkest day of the year, coldest day of the year. It was going to be great big bonfires, great big feasts, all about light. Everybody was going to go crazy, right? And so he scheduled it on that day, and the Christians said, yeah, that sounds fun. We're going to make that Christ's birthday, and they took it. So I to be honest with you, I don't really know which one is which, but it's percolated into the culture of, well, maybe it's not really what it is. I like your argument of it is what it is because it's December 25th and it's what the church celebrates, right?
Yeah.
And the church is God's church on earth.
That's right.
So that's the way they would do it. So I'm not arguing with that,
That's
right?
Yeah.
But the historical stuff, I've heard both sides.
I would, there's been so many, a lot of people like to claim that, that Christians took every major pagan, every major holiday that we have. It's just a pagan thing that Christians tried to claim.
Yep.
And I call BS on that. I really do. And right now, I don't have in front of me the backup. Maybe those are some more podcasts that we can make.
There you go.
But I think
start researching.
In the spirit of this podcast, and I guess in the spirit of time, talking about can you be Catholic and celebrate Halloween? I think absolutely.
Yep.
And I don't think you have to go dress little Johnny or little Betty up as Saint Pius or Saint Teresa or whatever. Let the kids have fun, and it's really look at what's the harm that could possibly be done. Now, am I going to let my kid dress up like a devil or an axe-wielding murderer or something like that? No, I'm not going to. But at the same time, just try to just accept it as this is fun. Like you were saying earlier, this is a family thing.
Yep.
Anytime that you bring the family together and you're doing something that is, that you're not like outwardly doing anything bad. What I mean? You're not trying to scare people. You're not trying to hurt people or anything like that. Hey, come on. It's fun.
And so that's, as Catholic dads, we don't have to draw strict lines in the sand
Not
about
straight
this
lines.
stuff.
Squiggly lines.
Squiggly lines, right? So we're going to celebrate Halloween and we're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
But you don't get to dress up as an axe-wielding devil.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And since I'm the dad, I still get to pick what costume you get.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
And
I'm
that's
paying
it.
for it, and I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And can you read Harry Potter?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't think there's going to be anybody in my household that is going to go over to the occult or try to delve into witchcraft because they want to see if they can say Wingardium Leviosa and make your iPhone float up in the air.
Right.
I mean, they know it's a movie, it's a book. It's entertainment, and
Right.
the same thing with Halo. I mean, Halo or Call of Duty. They're running around, they're shooting people.
Yep.
But what do you teach your kids? In the real world, they recognize that this is a game. It's a video game. There is a distinction to be made. I mean, and that's really where it's at. So I don't think that it's really our job to say no, you can't do this. Because I see entertainment value in lots of things. So for me to say no, you can't read this because it's got the word witchcraft in it. I mean, when you look at the Harry Potter books, it's all about love. It's all about,
friendship.
Albus
Unbelievable
Dumbledore,
friendships.
at the end of every book, has this very profound and very, dare I say, Christ-like message.
Absolutely.
For Harry.
Yep.
Up until he dies, and spoiler alert.
Yep. Careful there. Still reading it. The other family's household. Slowly but surely.
Sorry.
We can edit that out of the podcast, but not out of my memory.
Anyway, so forget that I ever mentioned that part, but he has great messages for Harry.
So isn't it key for us as Catholic dads to take the culture, and didn't Christ do this exact same thing? And I'm not comparing ourselves to Christ, I won't go there. But didn't Christ look at the culture and say, yep, this is the way the culture is, this is where we need to fix it, and this is where we're going to live in it, right? And all through Paul's letters, this is where we need to fix it, this is where we need to live in it, right? And that's what we need to teach our kids too, right? We live in a culture, we need to fix some big things about this culture, right? Halloween is not one of them. And so we can teach our kids how to be Catholic, Christian kiddos, and people, and dads, and husbands and fathers, in a culture, and still have a really good time, right? And still appreciate the things that are really cool, and still understand that there's fantasy, and there's Lord of the Rings, and there's Harry Potter, and there's these wonderful places that we can go, and we can come back and still go to Mass on Sunday, and it's okay. Right.
And I would love to have another podcast on Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter. That would really, I think there's a lot of people that would probably want to just punch me in the mouth for even saying that. But that's a very good, I think that's a very good topic for another podcast.
Fair enough.
So
that goes to the squiggly line.
Rolling up to about almost 20 minutes here. Do we have any emails?
Let me check our Facebook. No.
So
for those
emails.
Of you, so we appreciate all of you that have made it through 3 podcasts with us. We hope to see you again next time.
All right. Good deal. Thanks for listening.